Welcome to Roll for Imagination, a Dungeons & Dragons podcast where a group of friends, separated by distance, dive headfirst into the wonderful world of D&D. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to a episode of Dungeons Discussions.
Woo! Woo!
Woo. So if
been a
you
while.
are new to our podcast, you may not have heard of any of our Dungeons Discussions, but it's something that we did before, where every now and then a couple of us from the podcast would sit down, we'd have a discussion about like what's going on in the podcast, or we do what we're doing today, which is D&D horror stories. So we've gone onto Reddit, seen some of the very traumatizing experiences that other people have played, and have decided to read them out for everyone to hear and then just share the trauma with them.
And give our opinions that no one asked for, but people
Oh yeah,
will enjoy.
of course. Hopefully people will enjoy.
I find it very
Okie
entertaining
dokie.
if no one else does.
Yeah, to be fair, it is quite fun, isn't it?
Mhm.
So who would like to take the reins on the first post?
I can go.
Yeah, go for it, Beth.
So this is a post on Reddit from Fiddle SX is the username.
Interesting choice.
Maybe it's Fiddle's X. I don't know. Is it plural Fiddle? We'll never know. But that's
Fiddles.
fine. I recently started a new campaign with my old D&D friends. We've been in this new campaign for about 2 years now, and I have had many interesting situations come up and backstories. I recently made the decision, along with my DM, that I would kill off my warlock in favour of picking another caster with more spell slots, as I wanted to offer more versatility to the group, since the paladin in our group was constantly challenging me in my roleplay, in any roleplay my character was doing. Already just doesn't sound like a great player.
No.
Not the OP, the paladin.
I was about to say, yeah.
So, since changing to a sorcerer, I joined the group after they raided my old character's home.
Nice.
And they befriended me and asked if I would join their quest. That's how the new character was involved in the story. Since then, the OP has been receiving backlash, saying that they've been metagaming, because obviously the player already knows the world, the character doesn't, and the story. So they've said, I've already been receiving some metagaming backlash about my previous character, despite neither of them having anything to do with each other. I've helped in multiple fights, and the paladin has accepted the reward and said that my character would not be paid a fair share of the gold because I was new. So I've pushed back and said that's not fair. We've always shared things out equally between the group, and then just been accused of metagaming. Bearing in mind that this player that is accusing me of metagaming has killed her characters previously, and instead of writing new characters, she writes a will to pass her previous character's gear and gold onto her new character. I don't do this because I think this is metagaming, but when I snapped back, I was told, not everything you say needs to be sassy and rude. You're a newer character, you didn't help as much, so you shouldn't get paid. Am I the arsehole?
Jesus, no.
No.
I
That's
mean,
ridiculous.
as someone who has played a warlock and a sorcerer, it is really annoying to not have the spell slots as a warlock, and I can really see how somebody would want to change to a sorcerer in favour of the spell slots. But I think this paladin character maybe is feeling more threatened now that there's another person with more abilities, potentially.
Possibly. I mean, it's very hypocritical as well. I mean, it's first of all, it's not their character to be dictating for a start, is it? I mean, if you got bored with your character, I know other very famous podcasts, which don't know if we can legally name, they have decided, their players have decided to step back from their character and create a new character within that world because they were feeling like maybe that character was just the butt of all the jokes, or they weren't really enjoying playing that character anymore and they wanted a break. And if you work with your DM, I don't see why that would be like a metagaming issue. Obviously you just have to pretend that the character doesn't know everything and that the party then catch them up to speed. But that's the player's choice.
Exactly.
If I got bored with playing Greg in Secrets of Lissenthorn, I know it's only supposed to be 2-shot and we've made it a lot longer than it was. But if I suddenly became bored with playing Greg, then I would hope that if I came to you, Beth, to say, look, I'm not feeling this anymore, I'm really sorry, I know, like, is there a way that we can kind of like figure something out? And I would hope that any decent DM would try and sit down with you and figure something out. But it's the players that are being arseholes.
100%, because as a DM, you want your players invested, otherwise there's no point. If, like, I've been in the situation before where I'm playing a character that I'm not 100% invested in, and it really does affect your game. So, like, if you'd come to me, Joe, and said, I don't like playing Greg anymore, I want to change it, that almost would be, like, exciting, because I'd be like, let's write you the most epic, dramatic, heroic character death. And then think of an amazing story to bring a new character in. Like, storyline wise, that's like a DM's dream. I don't know why people would be against that, but I guess it's not the DM against it, is it? It's the other player.
No, it's not. It's the other player.
What are your thoughts,
Bear in
Jamie?
mind,
Yeah, I mean, if it's something that they agreed with the DM, so it's almost like, why would you then be so against it? Especially if you've done it yourself as well. Why would you then be like, oh no, you can't do it, you have to do this, even though they've done it on a bigger scale, actually metagaming.
Yeah, leaving their gear in their will to this new character that's suddenly going to appear and take over their position.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that is
what?
like the epitome of metagaming. Like, who is this character to your character? Like, unless it's like their child or something, how would they have left them a will?
Because I think,
so the new person taking my position.
Yeah, didn't they mention they'd done that multiple times as well? Like, they'd written a will multiple times. So it's like, I'd get it if it was once, and you're like, oh yeah, it's her child, it's their child. But then to do it more than once and be like, no, you're metagaming because you decided you want a whole new character. Like, what?
That's very toxic of the player.
Yeah.
Like the other player, the paladin player.
Yeah.
And actually, if that's what they do in that situation, what do they do? Like, so they not only weren't happy with the fact that this other player had killed off character A to create character B, but they then punished character B by not giving them a fair share of the loot, even though character B had contributed towards and helped them do whatever they were doing.
Yeah, and I wonder what the DM's doing in all of this, because as a DM, you're almost like the mediator in these sorts of things. Like, if a character says, we all helped to defeat this evil creature and now we get to loot the gold from its lair, and all the characters, or one player is like, this certain player doesn't get any though, because I've decided this. As a DM, surely at that point you step in and go, actually, what do the rest of you think? Because I don't know. Yeah. It's a bit of a weird situation. Like, is this paladin player like running the table? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
potentially. And then actually, is the DM themselves comfortable to be dealing with that conflict? Because they may be able to like play with conflict in like pretend that they've created, but actually that's not pretend conflict. That's real conflict through the guise of TTRPG. That's full on passive aggressive through a character. And that's the DM may not feel comfortable to be able to discuss that, which obviously is something that needs to be addressed in itself. Because actually, as you said, there's the DM or the mediator.
Yeah.
They're the story creator and the mediator. Like if players are arguing between each other, your role is also to become like the go-between to try and settle things and sort things.
Again, especially if it's a decision that the player has made with the DM, you'd think that they'd then step in and be like, look, 2 minutes outside of gameplay or whatever, we need to have a discussion about this, because it's not on.
Yeah, I think people take things so seriously. I think at the end of the day, when you look at it at face value, it's a group of people playing make-believe, and you know what, it is so much fun. It is like the best fun, but it just doesn't matter. It doesn't. Like, say if in our campaign, Shaxori had died and you'd come back as a new character and you knew something about a town we'd been to, are any of us going to be like, whoa, hold up, metagaming? No, because it doesn't matter, does it? It's... I
mean, if anything, we have... you accidentally slipped up a few times with Calilius. This is not stuff that was released, wasn't it? But you went, oh yeah, and Kalilius, you did this. No, I only told Selkath that. And you
Oh,
went,
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. And I was like, no, it's
Snip,
fine. I'll run with it. I'll go
That was
with
like
it.
in character, like
Yeah.
metagaming in character, if that's even possible.
Because it's hard, especially when you do hear everything. Like, if we left the table to do the private things, that's one way of doing it. But I think that I'm not too keen on that because it kind of cuts us off, unless it's like a proper secret thing. But when, as you said, when you're in character and you're really embodying your creation, you do forget that actually sometimes the lines blur. And as long as you sit there and go, oh shit, sorry, I made a mistake there, we'll nix that, we'll retcon that, then it's fine. But if it was a case of you were metagaming, like we came across, I don't know, some kind of nasty creature, and you knew exactly how to fight it and you knew all its little quirks as a player, but as the character you didn't, and then you decided to, let's say a beholder has the ability to negate magic in its eye line. So as the player, you may know that, but as the character who's never met a beholder before doesn't know that. So actually you shouldn't be skirting out of the eyesight of the creature until the character has realised that there's an anti-magic field somewhere here.
Exactly, yeah. Like that's, in my opinion, that's metagaming. Not, oh well, you're new to the party, so you don't get as much gold as us, and if you do, then that's metagaming. Like, that's ridiculous. That is just ego at play.
Yeah.
Well, good find there, Beth.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I just thought I'd start off with,
Oh yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's quite hard to find some positive stories from what I was looking at.
Oh, we should do an episode of positive D&D stories.
I think we should as well.
Would anyone actually listen though? Is that as fun?
I mean, we can sprinkle in some shit shows there, here and there.
Okay.
Do a couple of soft and nice ones.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, if people haven't realised, obviously it's me, Joe, we've got Beth and we've got Jamie, but Georgie can't be with us tonight because she is having some serious tech and internet issues.
Flooding.
But she has, and flooding, not pretty, not great. So what she's done is, while she can't be with us, she is with us in spirit and has sent in to us one of her articles that she's found. So if you guys are happy with it, I'm going to read out in Georgie's stead and we'll discuss her one.
You're going to use Georgie's voice?
I was going to say, we need an impression, I think.
Oh god, no. I could do Salcath's impression, but... Georgie, no, I can't copy Georgie.
You know what, Joe? I believe in you. You do some really good impressions, I'm not going to lie.
Oh lord. Okay, I will try, but please don't judge me and I will absolutely break it if it's so bad. Georgie, when you hear this, please don't hate me. I love you dearly.
We'll all turn away so that we can't see.
Yeah, right? I'm going to be shunned from the group and
Stage
booted.
right.
Okay, no laughing, Jamie. This
God,
is serious, no laughing.
How does Georgie speak? So, I found a post by Impossible00. It starts as, so this happened pretty recently. I won't say exactly when, just to make things a little less obvious. I joined... Don't look at me, I can't look at the screen. I joined a game long ago that had already lost quite a few players, enough to where the campaign had only made it a few sessions in, and it was more worthwhile for everyone to just start from the beginning. It was no big deal. I've had that happen before, and things turned out fine. Sometimes these things happen. I should have acknowledged this as a red flag. Since the first sessions, there had been a guy who was the epitome of a problem player. He had main character syndrome, big time. Always metagaming, oh there's that phrase again, to try and be involved in a situation even when he had spent the entire session talking over others already, or making it impossible for anyone to do anything productive. On listening back to this is going to sound abysmal, isn't it?
No, it's good.
It's so good.
I told you a good accent impression.
He was that kind of player who would try to abuse every little thing about every single spell he possibly could. Sessions were 80% him. A, doing something that was overly complicated and the definition of chaotic stupid, and B, arguing with the DM over a ruling or why he should be able to abuse the mechanics of a spell. When we got a new player 4 sessions in, the new PC was hardly even introduced, and when his problem player completely took over the session again, trying to execute some over-the-top iconic plan. That sentence didn't make sense, sorry. I hope you understood what I meant. I can't even explain what exactly happened because I struggled to follow or pay attention to what has happened. The goal was to deal with the group we had encountered, who had an NPC we had been sent to find. The new PC we had just witnessed leave this group. He didn't agree with what they were doing with the hostage. Instead of getting him to help once he saw the party, the problem player just went on with the aforementioned idiotic plan. The new character didn't even get enough time to fucking introduce himself before the session was taken over again.
God.
By the end of the session, the DM had kicked him after private messaging everyone else, asking if they wanted him gone. We all had a discussion about the disruptive behaviour, and I thought things would be better after that. The session got retconned, but the sessions afterwards didn't get much better. Combat was slow. What should have taken 40 minutes took an hour and a bit. Most likely we were using a fucking archaic feeling VTT. This combat is where 2 new players were being introduced, as yet another player had left within the week before. In this session, before anything even really started, I got cut off again, as per usual, and I was tired anyways, so I didn't say much during session. After combat was over, I snapped back to reality when everyone else decided to dub me and my character the group leader, as I'm the only level-headed one. I didn't really get much say in when I asked questions. I got ignored. This is a very long post.
I was going to say, Georgie sent the long one.
The accent is actually hurting me.
Okay, no more accent.
They're pretending to be Georgie.
You did a good couple of minutes, it was good. 10 out of 10.
So what I can tell so far is they've got an arsehole player who was just being a general dick, who then got booted. However, after they got booted, things were still not great.
Yeah.
The dynamic doesn't seem great. Sorry, it's so long I think breaking it down is a bit easier for me to process anyway. Yeah. And then the person that's written this, what was their name? Impossible 00. Even though it sounds like they've kind of disassociated whilst playing.
Yeah.
Which I can understand, like when you're overstimulated and you've just clocked out, if you just disassociate. I've done it many a times before, not while we've been playing personally, but when I've done other things. And then I've snapped suddenly back into reality and a load of stuff's happened. So then they've been dubbed the level-headed one and been made the leader with no question.
Like leader of what?
Continue.
So not DM, just...
It says the group leader. As in
of
the
little, party,
the leader of the PCs, the parties, yeah.
Oh, like in character?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you meant like they'd said, right, you're the leader of this D&D party, but you're not the DM, which is a bit weird.
No.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So to continue, there came a point where there was a few second-long silence. During that silence, I began to speak, but midway through my sentence, I get interrupted again. So at this point, I message the DM. I tell him that after this session, I think I'm done with the game, as I'm always being ignored or interrupted or cut off, and I'm not having fun with the game. Yeah, you shouldn't be...
No.
Don't play if you're not enjoying
that's
it.
fair enough.
His response is basically, "Oh, that sucks. Nice knowing you." The response from a DM is sort of off-putting, especially since he followed up with saying how he could just kill my character off there and then if I wanted. This conversation happened in the last 10 minutes of the session. We send a few more messages back and forth. After I send my last message explaining how I'm just tired of the game, I click to leave the call and get removed from the server at the exact same time. No big deal, I won't be playing anyways. Though I get a message from the first new player, who had been a part of that group, who had the hostage. He tells me that as soon as I leave, the DM starts saying I was blowing up his DMs all session, and that I called everyone else a piece of shit. Which I did neither of, by the way. Our conversation had lasted the last 10 minutes of session, in text as well, so it wasn't like it was interrupting the session. I also said that if the other players wanted to have to be stupid for the sake of stupidity's sake, that's fine. But it wasn't for me. Nowhere did I directly insult anyone. So I had to tell the DM that lying about what I said was petty, uncalled for, and childish. But if that's what he wanted to do, then that was up to him. When that other player heard the DM start saying what he did, he also left the server. After this, I just had a bit of a laugh with the other player, trying to calm my nerves as the interaction had upset me a bit, particularly because I had been already irritated from the session itself. I went back to Reddit to block the DM as to not accidentally interact with any more of their posts, which I've done before in previous situations. It's not very fun. In doing this, I noticed that they have recently posted about needing to borrow money from people to pay back a credit card he maxed out. This was interesting, as the session before this one he had mentioned something along the lines of, the game will always be free, but if you guys ever want to pitch in, it would be appreciated. Huh.
That's weird.
Scrolling
Why
through
is
this
he-
guy's Reddit, it seemed like, what's going on there?
What
It's
is with
scrolling
the
through the
thing?
guy's Reddit, I see that in the last 100 days, he's posted a lot of posts regarding asking for money. It was weird to me, but I didn't really think much about it until I started talking with one of the players who had left that I had also befriended previously. I tell him what happened, and when I mention the pitching in comment, he stops me to show a message where the DM had asked him, a stranger on the internet he hadn't even known for 2 months, if he could borrow money. Then I showed him the Reddit posts. I legitimately think that this DM made a couple of shit financial decisions, got themselves into debt, and then decided to try and use D&D and all their players as a cash grab to pay back the money they owed. It wouldn't be the first time someone's done something like that at all. I've tried my best not to add any identifying information, and I'm not even using the account I first met him on to post this. If it hadn't been for the fact that he's probably trying to use D&D as a cash grab, I wouldn't have even made a post to begin with, since the entire interaction start to finish didn't even last 20 minutes. Don't give money to random people on the internet.
Wow.
That's insane.
Jesus, that is a lot to unpack.
Yeah, where do we start with that?
Well, at first I thought it was just going to be like arsehole players.
Yeah. But it seems like almost this guy doesn't know what he's doing for the fact that everyone leaves. Like, it feels like there's some issue with the DM.
Mm.
And like they
If
said...
there's a common thread, like, look for the red flags.
Yeah, and like the poster said, that they think that they've just got themselves into debt and they're using them as a cash grab. It literally seems like he's like, ooh, what can I do and get people to give me money, and they feel like they're actually paying for something. Like, it feels like they've gone, ooh, DMing, I can do that, and just doesn't actually know what they're doing.
Because actually, if they're using a server, then obviously it's online resources, isn't it?
Mm.
So if they're using something like D&D Beyond, and they've already paid for all of their resources, there shouldn't necessarily be any extra expenses.
I
So-
do get that there are DMs that obviously DM paid, where it's like £5 or whatever
Yeah, I've
to
heard of
join.
those.
But the fact that he's just like, oh yeah, just chip in if you want. And it's like, what do you mean? Why would people just give
it's
you
a very
money?
ambiguous statement, isn't it?
Yeah, chip in for what?
It's like, I get
you
it if
chipping in
you-
for the crisps.
Yeah, I get if you set like, oh, £5 to play each session or something, £5 a session, and we go once a month and we play for like 6 hours, like fair enough. If you want to be paid for your time and you're DMing for total strangers, but he's like gathering people and then later going, oh, can you send me money, please? Like, what? There's no set amount or set time frame
It's a
or
form
anything.
of, yeah, it's like emotional manipulation, isn't it?
Like, I'm doing
Because
something
actually,
for you, so
if
you
these
have to pay me.
people, exactly, if these people get emotionally invested in it as well, and then if he asks them for money and they go no, and then he then turns around and goes, okay, well then you can fuck off. Then actually, in an attempt to not be kicked off of something they're potentially enjoying, they might then give in and pay him money.
Yeah.
So it would be racketing, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be holding the player itself at hostage, like the character.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it's so weird. It's almost like, because at first the OP made out like it was this other player was the problem, and then it turns out it was like then another player and then another player, and then actually does it come back to the DM? It's so interesting how in a lot of these situations it always does come back to the DM, and DMs are very, people trust them a lot, and I think they can be very good at making out like it's a certain person or a certain player that's like affecting the storyline or affecting the other character's decisions, and this is the problem person. when in reality, if you take a step back, as a DM, you can pretty much like cushion anything a character's going to do. So a character does something, I mean, we can look at Secrets of Lyssenthorn in terms of chaotic characters and doing random shit and like fucking it up.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No.
Honestly, it's not really you two, is it? It's the boys, the mainly, but you don't really help Joe. But, you know, you can always bring it back. And I think a campaign where multiple players are the problem, they're not. It's the DM.
No.
And this DM sounds not only like he's trying to take their money, but also like he's just toxic in general. Like if the money part wasn't even involved, it would still be bad.
The fact that the player had messaged the DM directly, and instead of going, okay, as an adult playing make-believe, how can we fix this? He went, all right, fuck off.
Yeah.
I'll just kill your character then, fine, sorted.
Yeah, because again, you can do that but politely and just be like, oh, if you're not having fun, I mean, I'm still going to run the game this way, but if you don't want to play, then fine, that's fair enough. But just outright going, oh, well, don't play then. Like, that's a child. Like, you could be adult about it without throwing all your toys out the pram. Like,
man-child behaviour.
Yeah. Don't we know it?
No, and especially when, like, it's one thing if a player was acting like that, but the DM that runs everything, that is effectively God at the table, if that's their behaviour, tap out.
And then to immediately go back to the other players and be like, oh, this person said this, and they've also said things about you, and they've also been doing this all sessions. Like, no.
Yeah, no, it's very
poisonous,
very toxic, very twisted.
Definitely
not something I would want to be involved in.
Yeah, I think OP has got a lucky escape.
Yeah.
I agree there. They got out when they needed to. Yeah. So, Jamie, would you like to, after that harrowing story, would you like to read out one of your posts you found?
Yeah. Let me just, I'm so sorry, I'm going to skim this because I skimmed it earlier. I just want to check what I'm reading.
Yeah, I didn't realise how big some of these posts were going to be, and they're not in paragraphs, and it's freaking me out, guys.
This one's not too bad.
In teacher form, I went through and summarised.
Alright, we can't all be like you.
That was the smart thing to do. Right, okay. This one is by, so it's from the same Reddit, and it's by TGI_Frankie. It's a fairly recent one, actually. It's like 4 hours ago.
Wow.
Oh,
very recent.
Very
we should message him and say
recent,
that we've talked about
recent for recording, yeah.
Oh yeah, this is going to be out in like 5 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, we've recorded this on the 6th of November, 23.
So, whenever it's out. Cool. So, this guy was a long-term friend of mine. Over 10 years, he asked me to join a campaign, and I did. Everything was fine for that one and the one that followed. Some disheartening dice throws. But when his girlfriend was playing with us, he usually had plans to avoid a party wipe and minimise deaths. He wants to do OSE. Don't know what that means. Now, in Chromatic, it took us 30 minutes to unlock a door simply because he had been playing fast with a few things that led to a distrust of him from the group. He promised he'd be more upfront and mentioned he didn't want us to spend so much time on a door. If that's what it took, he would be more forthcoming. Turn to Saturday, we're doing Arden Val. Dice were bad, tensions were high. We wanted to leave the dungeon and he pushed us to a hidden staircase. As it turned out, this staircase was one that led to another floor, not an exit. We all had agreed as a group to leave the way we knew until he pushed us, and when I brought it up during his likes and dislikes situation, he mentioned he would always push us to our deaths. He knew we would trust him. I haven't read this before, so I'm a little bit like...
This is like some psychotic behaviour, this is worrying.
This is very power trippy. He said before that he wouldn't do this. I expressed my distrust in him as a DM and left the voice chat. He said some things to invoke sympathy and made me seem terrible after I left, and my significant other went off on him. There was no communication and we were booted from the game, and it was my significant other's first infraction against him, so no warning, they've just kicked them out. This is ignoring that my significant other signed a consent sheet and he agreed on no spiders because they have a huge phobia. Last session, he allowed a shape-shifting player to be a spider, changed to a scorpion during the player's introduction because he forgot. So the player was like, okay, I get it. And the DM mentioned spiders falling on them as a person at the start of the session that they got booted from. Again, they signed a sheet that said that these things weren't cool. He wanted a game with a bloodbath for himself, not a game for the players to have a chance to level or progress. Yuck.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah. There's a note under it as well. So it's a TLDR, too long didn't read. Says the DM went from a kind guy to a complete nightmare, accusing anyone with criticism of him, telling him how to DM and silencing him. And it looks like they had a system where it was like the players actually tell him what's right, what they liked and what they didn't like, so that he could improve on it.
Which is quite a good
But he
system to have if you're going to
Yeah.
take the criticism constructively and not throw a fit and kick everyone out the server.
No, but yeah, he had the system in place for people to tell him what he was doing right and wrong, and then he just was like, well, I'm not going to do it anyway. What was the point?
Again, it sounds like another man-child.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seems to be a theme.
And
Yeah.
it seems like...
Well, it could be a woman-child. Obviously, I'm not saying it's just the men.
Oh no,
that have
it
issues,
does
but-
say he, but this one is a
Oh,
man
okay,
child.
then we got the gender correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like, what's his intentions for DMing? Because it doesn't sound like he wants to help his friends, have an adventure and go through this story. It sounds like he wants to get his own fix of some weird murder scenario. Like, it seems like
Some
it's
body
almost
horror shit.
Yeah, like it's his needs and it's his like weird desires over like D&D. That's not what D&D is.
No.
Yeah, go to
especially-
a scare maze, bro.
Yeah, he's especially pushing them, like it said, they're especially pushing them into a new floor of a dungeon when they all agreed as a party they wanted to leave. So he was like, no, go this
Yeah.
way. Just
And
to
then when he
carry it
actually
on.
said afterwards, I'm always going to push you towards your deaths. Could you imagine playing D&D and the DM says I'm trying to push you all towards your death? Like,
Right?
sorry?
Like, what was
That's
the
just
point?
not acceptable. I mean, part of being the DM is, you're creating a world that these people are running. Well, you could be creating a world. If you've homebrewed it, you've homebrewed it. That's your creation.
Mm.
But even if you're not, if you're using something that's pre-made by someone else or a company, then you're still the one telling the story. But that doesn't give you the right to just traumatize and manipulate the players
No.
that much. I mean, I get there's like, if it were a case of going down one more flight of stairs would get them to a safe zone or something, then I would kind of understand railroading them a little bit to get there.
But the fact
But
that they were trying to
if it's-
leave, and he was like, no, go
Like,
deeper
they
in.
they stated they wanted to leave, they wanted to walk away and do whatever they wanted to, and I just forced them further. That's no.
Yeah, or you could even give them like a choice. If he's like, oh, it'd be really fun if they stay here and go to this like dangerous floor, but also they're trying to leave. Be like, there's two doors. There's two doors. And as a DM, you
Pick
know, one of them is going to be this, one's that, but actually stick to it and let them pick.
Yeah.
And then it could go either way. And that's like the nature of D&D, isn't it? That these choices have consequences. But as a DM, don't have both doors being to the bad place, Like, there's
That's
ways
just
around
asking
it.
to kill your players, isn't it? That
Yeah.
is them intentionally trying to fuck their players over.
Which
Yeah,
is
that-
so weird.
There is another note which I didn't read because I'm dumb and I didn't think it made sense. But they put editing this to add that he discourages us getting attached to our characters. He wanted us to go forward with both little motivations to develop our characters or be attached, or create a reason to care about them, but also be invested in the story. So he's purposefully telling people, make a character you don't care about, but also you have to be really invested in the story that I'm giving you.
Okay, I mean, there's a way of doing this. There's a few games. I can't remember the name of the game off the top of my head, but basically, it's a very, very hard RPG game that like you will die over and over and over and over again, and you keep respawning.
Dark Souls.
But it does it in a well. I mean, Dark Souls is one like it, and But yeah, okay, let's use Dark Souls as an example. Like, yes, you die and you respawn, but it's still your same character. Yes, if you don't get back to the location, you might lose your points or whatever. But the story still continues.
Yeah.
It's done in a way that it's unbelievably frustrating. I mean, the amount of times I rage quit from those kind of games is unreal.
Yeah.
But the story itself is catching enough to do it. But if you haven't engaged if you just treated your players like meat sacks, then they're not going to get invested in the story.
Yeah, and especially something like D&D where it's not visual as well. Like stuff, video games and stuff like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, all that sort of stuff makes sense because they're still visual, and you're actually exploring something. Whereas D&D is very much you have to make your own character. Mind,
yeah.
You have to make it all up yourself,
actually,
so it doesn't make sense to be like, oh no, don't get attached, but also make a good character.
Every player that I don't know if it's the same with you guys, but every character that I've created that I have or have not used, I've put a little bit of me in it. I've put a little bit of attachment into it because if I'm going to play that character, I need to have a connection to that character.
Yeah,
definitely.
If I'm just creating a character for the sake of just having something to walk around and hit things with a big stick, then what's the point of playing the game?
Yeah.
But the whole point of D&D is to immerse yourself in a land of wonders and fantasy and have fun and enjoy that imagination aspect of it and the roleplay aspect of it. But if you're just going to walk around a dungeon and have spiders dropped in your head when you've already said that you have like arachnophobia and get fucked with, that's not okay.
Yeah, that's a whole other issue that we haven't even unpacked yet. You know, if this is what I don't get. This DM sounds very, very like organised, very straight up, you know, having sessions where your players can say this was good, this wasn't, like receiving feedback, having them sign forms saying what their phobias are and where their boundaries are, but then just goes and ignores all of it. What's the point in even doing it? You know, I mean, if a spider phobia might not seem serious to the DM, but to the player it's obviously a really big deal, and just respect that. And if you can't respect that, then say that before they join the game. Say, oh, I'm sorry, like this campaign is going to have a lot of that theme and I can't remove that whilst maintaining the storyline, so maybe you should find a different game. It's fair enough before the game even starts, but don't be like, yeah, of course, sign this and then do it anyway. That is so weird.
Sign a consent form to say like what your phobias are and come to that agreement with the DM. Like if there were any sensitive topics that myself or either of you two or Georgie, if there were any topics that we point blank do not want discussed, I would assume that whoever's DMing at the time, they would ask the group, and then maybe if, like, say for example, if Beth, while you were DMing Secrets of Lissenthorn and I had an issue with a certain topic, I would personally message you and say, look, can we not go near this topic because I've got quite an issue with that. Then they just go, yeah, no, cool, fine, not a problem. We just won't go near that.
Literally, it wouldn't even be a big deal. Like I say, as a DM, especially when you're homebrewing, you just change it. Like you just change it on the spot. Like it's not a big deal. You can just change things so easily.
Especially such a non-issue as a spider. Like you can change that to literally anything. It's not even like, oh no, actually that's a big story moment. It's like it's a bug. You can just take it out and do something else.
Exactly. I mean, they realised they fucked up with the wild shaping character and changed it to a scorpion. So they'd identified that they messed up and they rectified that issue.
Yeah.
But then later dropped a bucket full of spiders on the characters.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, I do wonder whether this DM is just a bit psychotic and got them to sign consent forms saying what their phobias were so that he could put them in the situation.
Utilise them.
Yeah.
It feels like that.
Because it was just the whole saying, like, I'm always going to push you to your deaths and, like, trying to kill them. And then purposely putting their phobias in place. It just makes me feel like, yeah, that was an intentional decision. Like, surely no one's that stupid.
Another point. Yeah, that's another thing with some DMs where they're aiming for a TPK.
It's so weird.
Like a total party kill is how they win. Like, no. If a TPK happens because things happen, then that's one situation. Or if a player dies because of how things have progressed, then that's what happens. You then move on and work with it. But if you're intentionally, you even tell your players that you are intentionally trying to massacre the bastards, that's not fun for them. It might be fun for him. He might be taking some form of enjoyment out of the whole situation, but it's not fun for the people that he's putting through it.
Not at all.
No. He sounds like a proper arse. Anyway, moving on from that one. Beth, would you like to do another one?
Well, did you have one, Joe? Because I know you've spoke about Georgie's.
Yeah, I've got one. Let me just open it up because I definitely have it preloaded.
At least you didn't forget your dice to D&D.
No, that is very true.
I
That is
usually
very
do that.
true.
I usually have to go and find them. Like, it's like, oh, roll for this. I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, we have to roll.
I mean,
Hang
our
on.
first session with Secrets of Lissenthal, you completely forgot to have dice as the DM.
I know. In my
Everyone's done it.
defense, I had the longest day, and I was like, do you know what? I was gonna sit down, play D&D. Sat down, got comfortable, and then was like, oh, I need to roll. I'm literally DMing. We're recording this, and my dice are in the other room. That's so good.
Oopsies. Right then, so I've got my story. This one, surprisingly enough, is not actually about a DM being a dick.
Hmm.
So this was posted by Intelligent Ad 1251. So it starts off with, my DM, my friends / table mates, and me were in a D&D Discord server where it was run kind of seriously. They mostly didn't do anything unless real issues came up. The system they had in the server was, if a campaign had ended, then it would be moved to an archive where both DMs and players could go back and look at memories, art, chats, and most importantly, materials. Now, the campaign that DM ran reached almost 100 sessions. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Most of which lasted for 6 or so hours, jam-packed with homebrew lore, races, and systems that even we as players couldn't even file through correctly without notes. The lore in that particular campaign was supposed to be used for a second campaign continuing from that first one, if we hadn't lost everything. For context, my DM is a very straightforward guy, and if you don't tell him what's wrong, then he won't do anything to fix it. You know, like an average person. This unfortunately intimidates a lot of people, and they end up not actually talking to him when they have an issue and end up holding grudges. This part of his personality didn't exactly sit right with a lot of people on the server, and what would happen is that when people complained or vented, others would start holding grudges for these people even though they had no context and or were not involved. Anyway, my DM goes to look for his materials in the archive so he can put it in a document and sees that it's missing. He goes and asks the admin that controls the channel where it was and was told that it was deleted because they were clearing out the archive. When my DM checked to see if any others were gone, he noticed it was only his stuff gone and confronts the admin about it. The admin basically tells him, tough shit, and that it was all his fault. This wouldn't be as big of a problem as it was if we still had the notes, but I was the only note taker in the party and had lost all of them whilst changing out my motherboard. This meant that any and all lore materials that the DM spent those 2 years to build were gone. All of it was gone.
God.
Not only I know that's horrendous. That's heartbreaking. Not only the lore materials in the channel, but also several artworks and other creative works done by the players were also deleted and gone. My DM was, understandably, not fucking okay, and the admin felt no empathy for him or the other players that he affected. In the admin's words, most of us wanted you gone anyway, so you had it come in.
What?
Wait, I'm a bit
Yeah.
confused about who's this admin.
The admin is the person that runs the server.
But that's not the DM.
So that's not the DM.
Just
So
one
like
of the
how we have
players.
our server,
Mm.
one person is normally one person would be admin.
Oh, okay.
So what they've done is the admin person has then gone through and deleted all of this DM's lore, all of their materials,
Oh
all of the
my
artwork
God.
related to their 2 years worth of campaigns. They've deleted it and gone, well, fuck you, you're an arse and I don't like you.
Sure.
Yeah, so going back, in the admin's words, most of us wanted you gone anyway, so you had it coming. Things kind of went nuclear after that, understandably. I tried telling the admin that what he did wasn't okay, but instead I was labelled a bad guy and was met with an immediate response. The admin had the audacity to personally message my in real life friend, the one who had brought me to the server in the first place, and say how sorry he was for them for having such a terrible friend. we all basically left at that point, and now my DM has nothing he can use as reference to build more from the next campaign. And it's been put on hold for the foreseeable future. I don't know if any of this makes sense, but if you have an issue with someone, just talk to them. Don't get rid of their hard work just because you can.
Wow.
That's pretty damn heartbreaking. Like,
That's
2 years worth of creative work, 6 hours per session as well.
Oh god, yeah.
That Jesus, 100 sessions. That's what, about 600 hours worth roughly of lore, of adventures, of fun, of artwork as well. So these players have also made artwork. These people have made artwork. They've made creative things, and this one person has decided, no, fuck you. I don't know the contents of the fuck you. Like, it doesn't go into why the admin feels that way, but they have decided to take it upon themselves as a position of power, abuse that, and then remove all of their work.
Yeah, that's so... I couldn't even imagine. I mean, we can all speak from experience. Obviously, we had to delete all our podcast and everything up to a certain date and start afresh. That, fucked us all up enough. Imagine 2 years of everything being gone. I couldn't even fathom, I know it sounds silly because at the end of the day, we were just saying, it's just a game, it's just make-believe. But you do get so invested, and especially for that DM, that's their world that they have spent so much time building. That's like writing a book and someone just getting rid of it all. But a book that you've developed with your best friends, and someone just takes it all for no reason, just deletes it. I couldn't even imagine.
I mean, if it was us, as you said, it was painful enough. Unfortunate situations occurred, and as you said, things had to be removed. That was destroying enough. Part of me died with the deletion of that. But imagine if 2 years of your life was deleted. I don't think I could actually go back.
No,
I think that would full on kill my love for the game.
You'd lose motivation because it's not.
Yeah.
Again, with that DM, that's something that they've built up, and it's not even just in. Because they said it was 100 sessions, but it's they do work outside of sessions as well. Especially with artwork and things like that. People obviously aren't doing that during the sessions, so that's extra time outside. And someone's just gone, oh no one can have this anymore because I've decided.
Yeah. And it's all that time as well. It's not like a job where, you do all that stuff because you're supposed to. It's they've spent all that time, all them hours outside of the sessions because they love it and because they're invested in the story and they're invested in their characters. And and then someone's just taken it. That's really just psycho behaviour. Did it say why they did it?
No, it didn't. It literally just said that the admin, one day the DM went to go and check on his resources to create a document, and everything was gone. And then when the DM questioned the admin went, well, fuck you. We've wanted you gone for a while anyway, so on your bike, mate. So, I mean, personally, I would have had backups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have from experience saved things because I didn't want to lose them. And 2 years, especially if it's all homebrewed as well.
Yeah.
It's not as if they've gone and gotten a book from someone else has made, or D&D Beyond or something like that. They have homebrewed this world. They've homebrewed races, classes, subclasses, all that kind of stuff. There's no way you're going to... I mean, professional podcasters employ people to be lore keepers.
Yeah, because it's a lot of
They
information.
employ people to keep track of the lore because one person cannot hold all that lore in their head at once.
No.
So they employ people to be in charge of keeping sure the chronology's in order and keeping track of everything. And Oh no, that's infuriating. To be honest, when I read it the first time, I was flabbergasted. But reading it out loud with you guys, I'm full on like raging about it.
Although I do wonder, because they haven't said a reason why, is there more to the story that OP hasn't said? Because I can't fathom why somebody, especially if this admin person is a player, why would they after 2 years want to delete everything? Why did they want the DM gone? Who else wanted the DM gone? You know, what's the other side to this story, just to be devil's advocate?
Well, the poster did say that the DM themselves was very straight-faced, and unless you told him directly that there was a problem, he wouldn't know there was a problem.
But how would anybody know there was a problem if you didn't say there was a problem? Straight-faced or not?
Exactly. Exactly. Like, he might not... I'm not sure if we read a gender for them, but they may not be the best at picking up social cues. They might not be the best at realising that this person's not happy with what I've just said or what we've done. So it might be a case of they do need someone to go, excuse me, I did not like that, please, and have that discussion.
Especially if the party are aware. Like, the party have said they've said that obviously they know that they have to bring issues up, otherwise they won't realise it. Like, if you know that, then have that conversation. Don't just be like, oh, well, they're not getting it, so it's their fault. It's like, well, no.
Instead, it's all cloak and daggers, and they're having secret side discussions. And then I don't know if someone's had a side discussion with the admin, or if the admin sees some of the discussions, or if the admin's just an asshole. Obviously, there is two sides of every story.
Yeah.
So actually, all of the stories that we read will always have another side. So from someone else's perspective, the whole story might be completely different. But from what I'm reading, it's not looking good, son.
And I think, kind of regardless of the situation, there was no excuse for deleting and ruining someone's work, like someone's art. Like, if you don't like it, you can just leave without taking everything with you.
Yeah, I was going to say,
or
like,
just tell the person to take it and then leave.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, if you're not enjoying it, just say, look, we've all had a chat and we're not enjoying this anymore. Here's all your stuff, save it, whatever. But we're not going to carry on. Like, what was the point in deleting everything and making it so that no one can have it? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's just that childish behaviour again, isn't it? Like, a lot of these stories have the running theme that, in reality, these problems aren't really that big problems. People's reactions to the problems are the issue.
I feel like we need to do a positive story now. Like, they've all been pretty shit.
I'm sure let's all think. I'm sure we've all got our own positive stories about D&D.
I do also have a semi-light-hearted one, so if we want to switch to a light-hearted one, I can read that.
Yeah, let's finish with that.
Why don't we finish with at least a semi-light-hearted one, so that I don't sit here and cry my eyes out at the end of this recording.
Aww.
Cool. So this one is, on the same Reddit, it is by Firewalkwithme1254. This one. So this one's titled "Dumbest Thing That a Player Has Done in Your Campaign."
We need that Reddit thread just for Secrets of Gryffindor.
We can submit our own.
We need a separate podcast for that shit.
Let's do it. Let's do an episode where we talk about the dumb shit that you guys do.
The stupid shit we do.
We should do.
Right.
Like a wrap up.
Mind map that idea.
Cool. So this is a personal submission and happened in our last session. We're all completely new to D&D, so we've all been learning together. My DM's done a great job correcting our follies so that it's enjoyable and we all learn together, but I don't know if I'll escape my most recent fate. There are 5 of us in the party. We cleared a cave full of were-rats and 2 of us were bitten. We started changing during full moons and slowly realised what was happening, but unknown to the other party members. It got to the point where I wanted to keep our powers and the other bitten member did not. I entered a room solo after 2 other members were down but stabilised and found the remove curse spell. Not wanting to let anyone else know I had the power to remove our curse, I kept it to myself, thinking that I could convince the other infected. They weren't having it, so I kept it to myself. We also unknowingly resurrected the Rat King and fought him to the death. This session was alcohol-fueled, so what happened next was my greatest downfall. In a desperate attempt to remove the curse, the other infected took the sacred dagger used to resurrect the Rat King and stabbed himself in the arm. Nothing happened. In my drunken stupor, I one-upped him, thinking more of a commitment was needed, and stabbed myself in the heart. DM has no idea how he's going to work this back into the story, since I essentially killed myself. I didn't even want to get rid of the rat curse in the first place, but my dumb thoughts took over in the moment.
So they thought that the dagger was going to remove the curse, so they thought, I'll stab myself in the heart.
Yeah.
Why not? Like that's just a solid example of your intrusive thoughts winning there.
They had the spell to remove the curse as well, and they went, I don't actually want to use
Christ.
the spell.
Oh my god.
So I want to
That's
keep
brilliant.
my curse, so I'm going to hide the fact I have the spell. And 2 people stab themselves.
Yeah, like I get if you wanted to keep, like, I know that lycanthropy can be quite beneficial in D&D. Lycanthropy, for those that don't know, is obviously it's the disease from shapeshifting where nasty yuckers. But to just shoot yourself in the foot that badly and full on like stab yourself, cardiac tamponade, dead. Like what were you expecting to happen? Like.
And the fact that they want to continue, they have to continue on with the story as well, so the DM's also stuck with that decision.
Yeah, like the DM's now got to try and figure out, are we going to create a new character? Are we going to somehow resurrect this character? You can make him the new Rat King?
Oh, that could be interesting.
Oh, plot twist!
Yeah.
Secret Rat King.
Like, he wants to stay as a were-rat so he can be the king of them.
God, imagine.
I mean, that would be quite cool. I mean, you could bring them back as like the BBEG eventually down the line. Like if the player created a new character and they just continued their little merry play, and then the zombified version of their old friend comes back and goes, I am the Rat King.
Which I think is quite
yeah, because then the DM could play the player's old character meeting their new character. I love it when they do that.
And
meta.
And for very new
Good meta.
people, they all said that they were all new as well. So for someone that's quite new to D&D, having that element would be quite fun. Being like, oh, you fucked up, but we've figured it out and you're back.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I think it's
But that
stupid,
is,
but
like-
it's good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that is definitely a rookie mistake. Because, I mean, when you first start playing, you don't necessarily understand the gravity of all your choices, do you?
Yeah, no.
And then you play, and then you accidentally burn a village, and then you become a war criminal, and then you just have to live with those consequences. Like, these things happen. Like, this is what you have to learn on the treacherous path of D&D. It's all your actions,
Or maybe,
as silly as they are,
maybe you get down.
will have consequences.
Maybe you get down, but
Exactly.
you say you're dead and your cleric doesn't heal you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, look.
Yeah.
So for context, everyone, weekend just gone, we went to London and got to play some life-size D&D. And I was
Which was
playing
very
a
fun.
cleric character, and Joe was a bard, I believe,
Yeah.
who went down very
she
quickly.
She said to me, Joe, you always play the cleric. I'd really like to play the cleric this time. And I was like, yeah, sure, go for it. I'll be the bard. Not a problem. Yeah, you know how to heal people.
And I
Did
did
she
heal.
fuck?
I did heal people in my defence. Anyway, so then we're getting close to the end, and Joe's down, and he goes, "I'm dead." So I was like, "Okay, well he's dead. That's that then." I went and stole his sword and moved on. Turns out he was down and not dead, and I could have healed him, but he said, "I'm dead." So what was I supposed to do?
And then she ignored me when my corpse started saying, I'm not dead.
I'd already used my movement.
I feel happy.
No, it was too late by
Well,
then.
She looted my corpse and walked away.
I thought you were dead. In my defence.
I'm not bitter at all. I love you really, Beth.
Oh, you've only mentioned it
No.
50,000 times.
Hey. Let's just say you won't be the cleric anymore.
To be fair, I don't think I'm cut out to be the cleric. I can't lie.
No, it's a bit of a dodgy, like not a dodgy class, but you do have to be careful with that class, don't
A
you?
lot of responsibility.
Yeah,
With great power.
especially because it's like it is the only healing class in D&D.
Yeah. Although when I was playing the druid, I don't think I healed once other than myself.
But with Eva Starry,
Yeah.
you healed Kalilius once.
Oh, did I? Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
you
good.
healed Kalilius once. But that's the thing, is because the cleric is the only healing class of the game. Other characters can, like the paladins can, druids can. There are other spells that you can use that can help to heal a few hit points. I mean, rangers can get the spell Good Berries, which gives them 10 berries that each replenish 1 hit point per berry. And they last for 24 hours. And it's a druid cantrip as well, so druids can use the spell as well.
Cantrip?
So then well, not cantrip, sorry, it's a druid spell.
I was gonna say, I should have had that.
No, I was about to say, yeah. But I think it's a druid spell, and I think it's a ranger spell. I know it's a ranger spell, I think it's a druid spell as well. But that gives you the ability to heal outside of the cleric cast. But most of the like proper good healing spells are just cleric based. And I think it's only until recent updates they actually allowed druids to have things like Revivify.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And Let's Bring You Back from the Dead.
Yeah.
So Kalilius is like 24/7 stressed.
Oh.
He's sitting there going, oh shit, my spells have to save them.
Yeah.
But then actually, so you've got some hard-hitting spells as well as a cleric.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a toss-up of do you heal or do you fight? Because like Guiding Bolt is like 66 on its level 1.
Yeah.
Really?
If it hits. And yeah, it's something ridiculous. And then it also gives you advantage on the next attack on it because it lights up the foe.
Wow.
Inflict wounds, that's pretty killer.
Maybe I
Then you
do
get
want to
things
play
like
a cleric again.
I really like it, but I've said to you guys before, I really like combat analysis. I like that way of like thinking, well, how can I act in this situation? What spells will most benefit? How can I support the team? But that's how my brain really gets happy. It releases the dopamine. But yeah, if you're gonna play it properly, you've not got anyone else to back you up. It can be a bit squeaky bum, so to speak.
Well,
especially when everyone else in your party is ranged or magic based.
Yeah.
And you're the only one who has an AC higher than 15.
But didn't you go down in like one of was it our first ever session?
No,
We
I
played
didn't
together.
go down. No, I didn't go down. I nearly went down in our very first session, and then when we had our first big proper battle, this is obviously pre-recording, and you guys, unfortunately, any listeners that are listening won't hear this. But I did nearly go down again, and then Evie, not healing word, she cure wounds me, and that kept Kalilius alive.
God.
for when he fucked up, when he did his accidental oopsie doopsie plane shift.
Oh
It
yeah.
kept him alive.
Wait,
Yeah,
would you have
it kept
died
him
then?
alive. Pardon?
You took damage from the plane shift, didn't you? So would you have died if Evie hadn't?
Yes,
healed
I would
you?
have. And it was necrotic damage. So actually, you can't
Oh, God.
bring back from necrotic damage. If you die with necrotic damage, you can't heal it.
Oh,
Did not
I
know
didn't know
that.
that. No.
Yeah, depending on if you're playing with that rule. If you go below 0 with necrotic, because if you get hit with necrotic damage, you can't be healed for 1 turn.
Wow. Okay.
Oh.
So it's all right if you've still got enough HP to last until your next turn, but actually you don't receive the benefits of any healing for one 6-second round.
You're telling me this when we still have more Secrets of Lissenthorn to record.
Well, I'm hoping that you're not going to be a bitch.
Maybe I just want all your characters to die. I just love it. I'm going to just lead you
to be
towards your
fair-
death, you know?
To be fair, none of us are healers.
No, I know.
I think Talbot, Jordan has said that Talbot can heal you if he shoots you.
Yeah.
That's about it.
He's got
Which
healing
seems
bullets.
counterproductive.
It does seem a bit counterproductive, and yeah.
He also said that he's got something where as he's dying he can like, I think it's like a spell from like an earlier edition that he's adapted for his homebrew class, where like as he's dying he can release something which gives everybody a boost.
Okay.
That would be interesting.
I mean, it would be interesting to see how that manifests.
Yeah.
To
be honest,
hopefully he won't die.
No.
I don't think it would take a lot. Because realistically, I know this isn't an episode to talk about Secrets of Lissenthorn. Realistically, you should all have died in the manor with the
The
custodian.
manor.
That I was like, when you guys were playing that, and they were like, I'm going to levitate him and do this. I was like, realistically, you would all have just been shot there and then. They wanted you guys dead anyway.
Yeah.
But I was like, storyline wise, that's not going to make any sense. So
Who pulled it out of the bag though and charmed person him? Greg did it.
you
Greg
did.
convinced him. He used logic. The power of word over sword.
The power of magically altering someone's thought process, yeah.
Yeah. Literally just charm the shit out of him and hope to God it works.
Yeah.
we'll have
When that was...
We'll have to do a discussion fully on this.
Oh God,
Because we have a lot that we could go into with this.
Once Listen Thorns finished, I then think we should have a discussion, because that... Bless you, Beth. It was only supposed to be like a one shot that you'd stretch to a two shot, and we've now made it
6. It'll be
like
6.
what, 6 sessions long?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Woo!
I mean, we've fleshed it out. We've really kept you on your toes.
You
but...
have. And you know what?
Soz.
I was saying before we came on to record today that I think I'm not a DM at heart. I love playing. And these guys have really, really pushed me to my absolute limits. Not only is it 6 sessions long, it's also like almost anything you could have to deal with as a DM. I feel like I'm having to deal with these guys. But you know what? It's been so much fun. And if anybody listens to this and wants to go and have a listen, I really recommend, because it is just so
absolutely.
entertaining.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
Just the absolute pure chaos and carnage.
Yeah, it's just 5 people having 5-6 people having fun with D&D, which is what it should be. It should just be fun, and that's what Secrets of Listen Thorn was never supposed to be, but ended up really being.
It evolved with the times. Yeah, so I mean, shall we call it a wrap for tonight, ladies?
Yeah, because we're just
I think so.
spiraling,
So
aren't we?
I think we've tangented from doing dungeons discussions to just having a general chin wag.
We had our own
You know what?
our own story.
I mean, yeah, like it's fun. We're talking. It's enjoyable. I'm sure it's absolutely gripping content.
Well, I'll listen to
Okay.
it on the way to work, so that's what's important.
Exactly. I mean, it might just be us like 4 or 6 of us, whoever are playing, but hey, at least we'll have fun. So thank you for joining me, Jamie and Beth, for tonight's Dungeons
Thank you.
discussions. The first of the Roll for Imaginations rebranding.
Yeah, first one since we started
Yeah.
again.
And hopefully many more in the future.
Definitely.
Yes.
Well then. Well, it's been a pleasure being with you guys tonight. And thank you anyone that's listening. I hope you've enjoyed our podcast, and you can find us on Spotify and TikTok and all the different socials, but I will gladly hand over to one of the other girls who are much better at plugging socials than I am.
I was going to say, Joe, are you ready to try and plug all of our socials right now?
I was going to say, I don't have
Jamie,
it in front of me.
if you've got the script written, I can do it.
Jamie's the expert.
I don't have it in front of me right now, but I can record one and edit it in.
Okay, I'll try. Faces.
Leave this in.
Actor.
Leave this in.
Oh, don't. This will be the bloopers reel, won't it?
I'm going to find the script while you try and ad-lib it.
Oh, Christ alive. Okay, so you can find us on Spotify and now Amazon Music and Audible under Roll for Imagination. On TikTok and Facebook, we are also under Roll for Imagination. And on Instagram and Twitter, we are Roll Imagination. No underscores, no capitals, all just one word.
Nice.
Did I get it?
I think that was good.
you did.
I
And
can't
if you
find-
like D&D memes, I'm just
Oh,
going to
hell
put
yeah,
this
if you
out there. Our TikTok is basically a D&D memes account now, because me and Joe just started making them and found it really funny, and now we just basically just shitpost D&D memes, and it's kind of, yeah, people seem to be enjoying it, so we're going to keep doing it, and we find it really funny. So if you like D&D memes, definitely go and check that out. Like I say, Secrets of Listen Thorn, by the time you're listening to this, will be all there, storyline completed. I'm so excited for you guys to hear the very end of it. The last line that I've got on my notes is, and that is the secret of Listen Thorn, and I cannot wait to tell you what that secret is, or wait till you figure it out. So by the time everyone listens to this, that will already be out, so go check that out. Anything else we want to plug?
If we've missed anything, I will edit it in. But at the moment, I think we're all
Awesome.
good.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, so thank you for listening, and we hope to hear soon. No, fuck that.
Hear from you soon.
Hear from you soon, like it's my fucking mother.
Text me.
See ya, mum. Yeah, text me, babes.
I mean,
yeah,
do
so thank
it,
you for
do
listening.
messages.
No, yeah, true. Oh, the Discord.
The Discord.
The Discord, so you can actually message us. We have a Discord server, guys,
We just never talk about it for some reason.
We just never talk about it. And it is, so if you want to join our Discord server, the link is in our Spotify. You just have to copy and paste it. It's not a hyperlink, unfortunately. We're not special enough for that yet.
It will be
But if you copy and
hyperlinked on
paste it-
YouTube.
But it will be hyperlinked on our YouTube. Thank you very much, Jamie.
And it's on our link
come
tree.
join our Discord. It's on our link tree. Mate, it's on everything. Like, what you doing?
You can find us.
It's on everything, bruv. You can find us everywhere. But come and join our Discord server and just come and talk to us. We've got loads of people on there already. That it's just a general place for us to talk. Never mind about the podcast, just about D&D as well. What kind of characters you've created, what kind of backstories you've got, some interesting theories you're thinking up. We all have a bit of a chat, post our ideas, and it's just hopefully going to become a nice, healthy, friendly community.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
love that.
Fingers crossed.
We're getting there.
Fingers
It's getting there.
We're getting
Yeah,
there, we're
We
getting
need
there.
you to come and join
We need
our
you.
Discord.
We need you. Honestly. Right, okay, so bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.